Hey, what's up everybody? ESAM here bringing you another video. This one going to be a video about Smash in 2017. So it's going to be somewhat related to my video about Burnout that I made a few months ago. And I still stand by that point that pretty much like a really short TLDR is player burnout is pretty much self-inflicted, and I feel like you can just choose not to go to some events if you need a break. You should definitely be doing that. No one should be going to every single event ever. It's very unhealthy and you need time to like reflect on your mistakes and a bunch of other things. However, there was one thing I did not account for. So Smash in 2017 in terms of the gameplay was some of the best it has ever been. You have new rivalries, you had the peak of Civil War, you had EVO, you had the 2GG championships, you had so many events that were incredibly high quality, you had amazing sets, some of the most exciting gameplay literally ever in Smash 4 history. But at the same time, you had drastically decreasing viewer numbers for the most part throughout the year, other than obvious peaks such as like EVO and the championships. But for the most part, it started off really strong with Genesis and Frostbite and Civil War, and then kind of like trickled down, and yeah, some events would have decently high peaks, but not really other than like EVO and championships, as I mentioned. So the one thing that is getting burned out that I did not account for, which is why I feel like Smash in 2017, or at least Smash 4 obviously, kind of declined a little bit, was viewership fatigue. It wasn't the fact that the players were tired of playing, it was the fact that the viewers were tired of watching. You had the same sets over and over again. You had Zero vs. Salem at Midwest Mayhem, and then at EVO, and then in like all these different tournaments over and over consecutively. It had no hype. You know, the thing about Melee that I think is really good is the gods really only convene at one event like 5 or 6 times a year, so you have 2 months of like, man, Armada beat Leffen the last time, but like Leffen's been trying really hard and they played at that one regional in Sweden and Leffen like bodied him. What's gonna happen? There's so much hype, and there's hype about, let's say, Hungrybox versus Mango, because that doesn't happen particularly often. I mean, it happened I think 8 or 9 times last year, which still is a lot obviously, but it's different than, let's say, the amount of times Zero and Salem played, which I think was closer to like 15 or 16 this year. You know, even Leo versus Zero happened so many times over the course of like a 6-month, 7-month period. It was really tiring for a lot of the viewers that unless something crazy happened in terms of the brackets, so let's say Civil War, let's say Elegance Run, let's GTX or Championships, like other than that, tournaments just seemed very homogenous. Like it was very similar watching pretty much any tournament, because every top player was going to every tournament, because you had, okay, Nara versus Zero, Nairo versus Salem, Salem versus Zero, Salem versus Tweak, Tweak versus Zero, Tweak versus Nairo. Like you had, I mean, granted, those matches are very high level and I personally enjoy watching them and I don't get tired, but I can understand why a lot of people would. You know, the fact that everyone was at every tournament kind of lessened the importance of all the tournaments, other than the ones that were obviously going to be more important, such as Championships, such as EVO, such as Civil War. And I feel like one of the reasons for that was the fact that the 2GG circuit had a tournament every single month other than, I believe, April. So they had 11 tournaments in SoCal that consistently got high level talent. You consistently had people like Zero, Como, Tweak, Nairo. You had just had a bunch of top players, which was obviously, again, good. You had Larry, Ally, you had them all going there all the time, and so it made every single instance of those sets happening less impactful, which is a problem. You need viewers to be excited to watch your tournaments, because otherwise no one's gonna watch. Like if the last 3 are Zero, Salem, and Tweak, you know, while there are a big fan base for each of those players, it is less exciting because you generally know what's gonna happen because they've played at like 2 tournaments a month for the past 5 months, and that is a huge problem. I feel like 2018 will be a bit better about that. We have a lot less confirmed tournaments already. Like I literally only know of, you have obviously Genesis 5, which is like this weekend, you have EVO Japan, which is next weekend, you have Frostbite, and then after that, like the next tournament I can think of that's like guaranteed is like Smash and Splash, and then like CEO and EVO, you know, hasn't been announced at Smash 4, but I'm just gonna assume it's there. Then you have, you know, you can assume SmashCon's coming back. No one knows what Shine's happening. You have Big House that's probably gonna have it, but like we don't have all those tournaments, because again, last year we had 11 confirmed tournaments and then a bunch of things filled in the gaps, and there were so many tournaments. Like, oh my god, there were multiple tournaments on the same weekend that qualified for the tier tournament system, or the tournament tier system for the PGR, and like that's insane, and that's not exactly healthy. Like as a player, I love it because I can choose what to go to, but as a viewership, I feel like it just dilutes every single thing. It's why, you know, locals have had less numbers. Like the only locals that get good numbers in terms of viewership is like 2GGs, or like rather MSMs, like after a big tournament. Like those were the only ones that were getting numbers. You see VG Bootcamp's numbers dropping, you see Versus's numbers dropping, you see Showdown's numbers dropping, you see Tourney Locator's numbers dropping, even I don't really know exactly who streams Xeno because I don't really watch Tri-State very often, but all those viewers were dropping, and even I feel like MSMs other than the ones where all the top players were there, like when Hobby was there for like a month, or just, you know, the post-Saga MSMs, like the viewership was dropping for Smash 4, and that is a thing. However, I do feel like this year will be a bit better because we're not going to have quite as many tournaments. Obviously, the summer's going to be crazy. That's no doubt. The summer's gonna have tournaments after tournaments after tournaments. You know, you're gonna have the little regionals like What the Fox, you're going to have Smash and Splash, you're gonna have the Dream Hacks, I think, are bringing Smash 4 back. You know, there's a bunch of things that will essentially fill in the gaps, as always, but during the summer, as opposed to pretty much every single week of the entire year. The fact that Esports Arena is doing like their little thing with the partnerships for different tournaments that they can like apply for and be part of the circuit, that is a thing, even though I don't know how many details are announced for that yet. You know, that's a really good thing because now it's not centralizing one location, and it's going to make people prioritize different tournaments as opposed to tournaments just in SoCal, although I do understand why. Like, I'm not trying to fire shots at Esports Arena for doing everything in their place because they wanted to reap the benefits off of what they were putting into the scene and trying to build up a brand that now they can use to sell out and like branch off into other places, which I think is a very, very good idea. I think that is a brilliant idea. It's what I wanted them to do in the first place, but I understand why they couldn't, so I'm not really mad at them. You know, I do feel like it hurt the scene a little bit, but I feel like it is worth it going into 2018 and even 2019 if this continues to work, because circuits are definitely nice, but circuits, in my opinion, are like around at least the country, maybe even the world, although that's a bit harder to have like European and Japanese tournaments still in the circuit. But I do feel like that helps a huge amount, is having this spread of tournaments that, you know, you can assume like CEO is gonna have that, and Evo might have that, although Wizard's kind of weird with working with people, and SmashCon, and, you know, maybe Smash and Splash, or some of the Dream Hacks maybe. Like, you never know exactly what's gonna happen in terms of adding things to the circuit, and I really, really like that. So I feel like there will be less important tournaments. You know, last year we had so many S tiers, and I mentioned this in my PGR wrap-up videos, that like there were so many S tiers that it made every single S tier less important, not only from a competitor's perspective, but also from a viewer's perspective. Like, being an S tier didn't matter as much because there were, what, 11 of them last season? 9, 10, some ridiculous amount as opposed to like 4 or 5 in the season prior. Like, that's an insane number, and while it's good because it was showing growth and it was showing that a lot of the top players were going, it definitely did hurt the viewership. But I feel like in 2018 this will be remedied because it seems like there are going to be less tournaments. It seems like because of the Esports Arena branching out, there's not going to be a million tournaments just there, which is very, very good. There's going to be less tournaments in general, maybe 2 a month as opposed to 3 or 4 a month, which will keep the viewers reinvigorated and, you know, keep everyone watching this, like, different things, because not everyone has to go to all the tournaments now, but even then you still have, let's say, like a big tournament and then like a small regional, or like 2 small regionals that like kind of just have their local scenes, and then a big tournament. But I feel like a lot of people got tired of traveling last year, so I feel like even the players are going to be traveling less than they were last year, which is going to allow the times that everyone does travel to be more significant and more important and all the more of a spectacle. And yeah, that is going to be about it for this one. Hope you all enjoyed. As always, social media, Panda, and partner stuff is down below. Don't worry, I am putting up a video about Zero's retirement and things like that. That should be out in a few days, although maybe even longer, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to edit this and my Zero video before I go to Genesis and then Japan like tomorrow. So I'm going to try my best, but if it's not, that's why. And yeah, we'll see you all next time. Bye.